How you been, homies? Well, we're getting to that time of year. Missed you guys. For those of you guys that have been with me for a while, you'll notice that I come and go in cycles. And this is about the time of year where I'll start making more content. It's also the time of the year where this will be my permanent look moving forward until spring. Procrastination can be a beautiful tool if you understand how to use it. I've been living my life a certain way for a very long time. Some of you guys found me a few years ago when, we'll say some of you guys found me a few years ago. Times were different, but I stayed the same. And then before you guys found me, I still lived the same. And now things are pretty much the same. You see, every December I have a friend come up from a far, far place away. I see him for 2 or 3 hours. He goes on his way and I go on my way. And the cycle continues. This year, I wanted to give him a little gift. So, seeing that Nada lenses have been the topic of a lot of my conversation, I decided maybe I should follow the tech from the person who made it, what it is, made it known for what it is. So that's what we're about to do. This is not how I would approach it, but reading some of the comments on their Patreon, I noticed some people had some issues. So I wanted to see what it was about before I do it the way that I know I'll have no issues with it. And it was a learning process. In the process of things, I learned there were 2 pages that were very similar with the text, but the measurements were different on water. So if you're trying to follow along with the tech that I am following along with, understand it is the one with 3,000 milliliters of water added directly to the core, and it can be soupy. Now, looking back, I would have used less, but that's not the purpose of making this. The purpose of making it was seeing that people had issues. I just wanted to find out what happened. And, well, here you go. So I've been doing my own thing my pretty much entire life, which involves taking other people's stuff, twisting it to work for how I do my thing, and then coming out with my own steps. So let's actually follow a known recipe. Starts out with 300 grams of cocoa coir. There we are. Now we take our 300 grams of coir, add that to the pot, and heat up 3 liters of water. Alright, so we add our last bit of water. That is 3,000 milliliters or 3 liters of hot water. It says to leave it covered 45 minutes. So now, after I clean all these leaves off, get all this crap out of there that we don't need, I need to get 3 of these into the mixer. So now we have our manure in there, and if you notice, some slugs are coming out. I gotta get them out of there. That's what happens when you leave your manure outside. So let's get the slugs out. 7 cups of vermiculite. If you don't have a dedicated mixer, just use a bucket. Now we take our core. It says it's alright if it's soupy. And it's soupy. We gotta get that out. Now we turn it on and let it do its thing. Alright, 1/4 cup of gypsum. Come in here and just bust all this up by hand. I had a feeling this would happen just based by how soupy it was, but it's okay. Nothing we haven't been through before. We'll just knock everything down to the bottom. And then turn her back on and let her keep mixing it up. So yeah, I'll see you in a minute. Little tip, when you're doing this, don't forget to actually mix it up off of the bottom as well, because it's stuck there as well. So you gotta get down in there. Alright, so we're out here, we have our substrate in the pot, and if we squeeze it, looks like we're actually kind of at field capacity. So it doesn't look like I need to add really any more water. And what we're looking for is when we give it a squeeze, we get some drops coming out. It's a little wet, but that's okay. I'll show you how we can soak up that extra wetness. We have tricks. Put a little bit of vermiculite in the bottom, just a little bit, and that'll soak up the excess water, and we'll be good with that from there. And then you just mix that in with everything when you're done. So I'm gonna load the jars up and then I'll see you. Ooh. Get 'em, puppy. So now we're filling up the steam generator. This is where the recipe calls for 70 minutes at 15 psi. I don't use a pressure cooker anymore. This is what I use. So once the first purge happens on these little jars like this, it only takes about 10 minutes to get it up to temperature. So we'll run it for an hour and a half and call her good. Actually, no, we'll do 2 hours just for posterity. 70% ISO. Spray it down. I'll let it sit for a couple minutes. Wipe it out. Degrees. That's what we want. Perfect. So let's get our tote in here and just have it sitting. That's all we need. Alright, so we got that in there. It's actually floating even though I got jars in the bottom to catch it. Put a little bit too much water in. So that's fine though, no big deal. We'll let this float for a little bit, let it stabilize on the temperature, and then when I go to add my casing and the screen to the top of that, we'll actually pull a little bit of water out. So she won't be floating, but she's fine. Alright, so we're coming at the point now where I need to make the casing while our mycelium and substrate is acclimating to the temperature. For that I need 2 quarts peat moss, 2 quarts vermiculite, 15 grams, 1 quart of water. Alright friends, so while that is acclimating to the temperature, let's make our casing. 2 quarts of moss, 2 quarts of vermiculite, 15 grams pickling lime, 1 quart of water, all in the same bag. Sorry if the wind is going. 15 grams. Add that to our mix. Yeah, you get it. So now at this point, take our quart of water, dump that all in there. Not worried about mixing it together. Once we run it through either your pressure cooker, or in our instance we're going to use a steam generator. With the bags closed, it'll carry that moisture all throughout the casing. So let me wrap this up and we'll see you in a minute. So I take mine, wrap them around like this, and then I double bag it, you know. Gotta wear 2 Jimmy hats for some people. I have it to where the top of the bag is there, the bottom of the bag is down there, and ultimately I'm just going to take some electrical tape and tape this down after I wrap it around. That's the secret. Fire ass cannabis. I got this. That's off. This is the 2-hand part right here. There we go. I'll grab that, throw that in there. Now the animals will have water. You want to hear something funny or see something funny? I was fermenting this outside and something came by and drank it and ate all of it. I'm kind of confused, and I hope hope they didn't cut themselves. But yeah, they've been coming by and eating it. This was full 2 days ago. Empty now. Alright, so because, you know, life happens, it's been a while, I gotta cut this out, and all I'm doing is cutting out the part that pushes down. That way it leaves it nice and flush up here. So let me cut this out and then I'll see you guys. Alright, so we're on the floor. We have our lid cut out, some Gorilla contact, spray the border, and then put my screen down. So yeah, won't be too hard. I need both hands. So we sprayed it down, let it sit for a minute, took some parchment paper, kind of pressed it down, and that seemed to do a really good bond on it. I might have to hold it for a second. And it's not the end of the world if the first one doesn't go, because we're getting ready to put another layer on it. So like that wave right there, we'll get all of that out by the time this is over. Let's spray another round of glue on here. This one we're going to coat it a little bit more. And we're going to attach our second screen. See you in a minute. Alright, so now I'll just let this sit out overnight. Finish tearing up along the edges. Might come by and put some wax paper down and just, or parchment paper down on certain spots here or there. No big deal, and then I'll see you tomorrow. So our hoopty dada screen is made. Yes, that's dried glue. Our temperature is at 82.9. That's good. I'm going to cut the wrap off, and then when I come back, I'm going to apply the casing. So we followed the written out instructions on Gordotek to a T. And we are on day 9, so let's see what happens if you follow it to a T. Get to day 9. That is some beautiful mycelium, friends. Beautiful mycelium. Let's add our casing, even though we still got a little bit of clusters right there. I'm not worried about it. Get our casing on it, and then keep her in fruiting. Alright, we have our casing on. Time to grab our screen. Hopefully not knock over our lamp in the process. Alright, we got our screen on. And then it also states to leave a lid on and cover half of it. Alright, now I need to go and get me another water bottle because yeah, I lost mine. Alright, so now, sorry. Following with the instructions, it says to spray it directly onto the surface of the casing and then both sides of our screen. So that's what we are going to do. Flip it up directly onto our casing. Spray it over here in the sun. There we go. Alright, let's get the bottom side of it. Actually, I gotta pull the screen out to do this part. Bear with me, sorry. And since our screen is double layered, it should actually probably hold just a little bit more water. So like I said, we were following it through the T. Well, that's part we kinda took a little liberty. Alright, bottom is sprayed. And I'll spray the top once she's on. There we go. Got it good, nice and glistening. The idea is to get the water to actually collect to the screen, so you don't want it too fine of a mist because we want it to actually catch the droplets. But we don't want to form hard droplets on the bottom side. So this part might take some trial and error on your droplet size, but hopefully you can see what we're aiming for. Alright, so there we go. That's done. So now, put our lid back on. Like this. And tomorrow, when I wake up, I will come out and I'll spray it. Casing, top, bottom of the screen. And then we'll put our lid on like this tomorrow night. So, tonight, these two corners are covered. Tomorrow night, those two corners will be covered. Alright, so let's have a gander real quick, because we got a lot of interesting things to go over and learn. Alright, so we're at 84.3. That normally is sitting at around 83.9. But if you notice, we added that. Why do we add that separation? So, when you are sitting here, bear with me a second, friends. When you're sitting here, right, and you're doing it the way that the video or the tech describes, you do it like that, and then every other misting you rotate it. So that now, then later we'll do that. The problem that actually caused is the center of the lid there gave me a drip point right here. So about the past 18 hours I've been coming through. I had a really deep puddle right there, over there. I had to come through and get out the metabolites with syringes. Now after I got the metabolites out, all I did was mist where the mycelium was actually white at, and then I'm not misting where it's still dark at. And from that, I'm still misting the screen, just a little less, and now I add these older jars up here, and I actually think that this is what I'm going to do from here out, is use these, because since I've started doing that, it gives me just a little bit more room for evaporation and actually helped colonize where it was dark at. So just a little update I wanted to show you guys. We should be getting fruits literally any day now. Alright, let's give a little update. It's been frustrating, but your hard work pays off. So I'll have to go show you a jar that I have as well, which is why I'm okay with this right now. I think it's just because of the genetics, honestly. So we got a little bit of green going on right there, but it's actually recovered as well, and I think that is due to the genetics of it. But now we got some pins coming through. And we're going to get at least one flush off of it, and then at that point in time, that'll be it. So we're tracking that. We had a lot of moisture, and I think that was just because we straight ran the higher end of water. Oh, we got a little bit of green right there as well. So we'll let the fruits that are going to come out, and then yeah. But I also wouldn't be surprised if that recovers. I'll have to show you a jar in a minute. Less moisture, less water in the substrate. Next time we'll handle that. So put the screen back on. And also maybe doing one screen instead of two. Might hold a little bit too much, but hey, we're learning. Clone, 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 clone. And now, friends, so at this point in time, I'd like to thank you for your time. It's all we have, and it doesn't exist. Much love. Stay chubby. Protect your brain.